All right, coming up next week, we are going to have a quiz on Monday over 7.1 to 7.3. So today we're going to take some notes that will hopefully help you to understand what your quiz will be covering. First things first, it says describe the likelihood of each event. If you would, take your red pen, and I want you just to draw a cloud around the word likelihood. There was a little graph that we had a picture of back in chapter 7, and it showed the likelihood of different things happening. Right now, I want you to write down what you think the answers are on A, B, and C. If you do not know them, you may take out your notes and look it over. All right, looking at the first one, the probability that an apple tree will produce grapes is 0%. Guys, what's the likelihood that an apple tree is going to produce grapes? Impossible. It is impossible. There is no way at all that it will be able to produce grapes. All right, let's see how we did. For problem B, the probability that a cat will give birth to a baby kitten that's a boy or a girl is a 50% chance. Kyla, what is it? Okay, here's what it says. Equally likely. You got to have that word likely. To happen or not happen. On your quiz on Monday, these are the words that I will be looking for. Finally, Gerard, there's a 15% chance of rain tomorrow. What's the likelihood that it will rain? It is unlikely. That means it's probably not going to happen. It could, but probably not. All right, moving on to the next one. Write the formula for theoretical probability. Does anyone remember what it is? Kyla, what is it?
Successes over trial.
Not for theoretical.
Favorable over total.
All right, everybody with your red pen, I want you to write this down. Favorable, so it's favorable outcomes divided by the total number of possible outcomes. All right, the next one, experimental probability. Guys, what's that formula? Successes divided by the number of trials, or the number of times that you try out that experiment. Okay, these are two formulas you guys will need to have memorized for your quiz. All right, so this next one says to find the theoretical probability of the event and round to the nearest 10th percent. I would like you guys to draw a little cloud around the words 10th percent. I want you just to start really looking and identifying what the instructions are asking you. In this case, we are doing theoretical probability. So we know the formula is favorable divided by the total. As I looked at what many people did, they saw that it said spinning a 4. So this is what they wrote. Oh, favorable. I'm looking for a 4. And then they saw total. Oh, looking over here, there are a total of 6 numbers. So they said 4 out of 6. Raise your hand if you can explain to me what is wrong with this. What did they do wrong? Addison.
They put a 4 instead of a 1.
Okay. They put a 4 instead of, as you said, a 1. Down on that spinner, there is only 1 4, which means I have a 1 out of 6 chance of getting it, not a 4 out of 6. So if you put 4, I want you to erase that and fix it for me. Now, anytime that we want probability, we would like it to be turned into a percent. Aubrey, what would this be as a decimal?
0.1666666.
Okay, there's a lot of 6s there. This, if I were to change that into a percent, we would have 16.6 repeating percent. Now, Kaylin, I've asked you to round to the nearest 10th. Where is the 10th place?
Right behind the decimal.
Correct, right after the decimal. So this one is going to be seeing, should it stay a 6 or should it get bigger? Class, what's the answer?
16%.
Everybody, what's the answer?
16.7%.
16.7%. Remember, once again, if I am asking for it rounded to the nearest 10th place, you've got to see if you need to round that 10th place right there. All right, how many of you would say you and your partner got that on your own? All right, let's look at the next one. Spinning an even number. Guys, remind me again, what is the formula for theoretical probability? Favorable divided by total. I am looking to spin an even number. Lexi, how many even numbers are on this spinner?
3.
3 out of how many total?
6.
6. If I wanted to reduce that, it would be a half. What percentage is half, class?
50%.
50%. That's exactly half of it. Now, guys, what's the likelihood that I will spin an even number? Equally likely to happen or not happen. Very good job. Okay, any questions on that? All right, let's go on to the next one. This next one talks about finding the experimental probability of the event. If we are doing an experiment, what's the formula for that?
Successes over twos.
Everyone write this down. Successes divided by trials. We are trying to successfully spin a what? A 1. So let's look over here. Here's the spinner. They spun the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Guys, how many times did they spin a 1?
41 times.
41 times. Caleb, how do I figure out how many total trials or how many times they tried and spun for a number? Very good. We have to add up all of those numbers that we see there because that's how many times they did the experiment. Class, how many times did they do this experiment? 200 times. Now, you could put this into your calculator or you could do mental math. I am fine with either one. But who can tell me what percent 41 divided by 200 would be? Caleb, what is it? Okay. If we have it like this, 20.5, all right? But he told us that we've got to move it over. If this turns into 20.5%, he remembered I don't want it as a percentage with a tenths place. Instead, if you guys would, take your red pen. Something he noticed is it did ask you to round to the nearest whole percent. As I said, always go back and look at those instructions. So he noticed it would need to bump up, and the final answer was 21%. Caleb, you are correct. I want you and your partner to go ahead and do problem B together. All right, so once again, we know successes divided by trials. What were the odd numbers that you can see here? 1, 3, and 5. So notice, we got a 1 41 times, a 3 39 times, and a 5 40 times. How many total successes did they have? 120. Out of how many trials? 200. Mental math tells me I would divide by 2 to get to 100, which means I have to divide by 2 to get to 60. Guys, what would the percentage be? 60%. Raise your hand if you and your partner got that. All right, if you did not, does anyone have any questions about it? All right, let's go ahead and flip to the back side of our paper, and I want you and your partner to do problem A and B together. This asks us to use the fundamental counting principle. If you would, please put that in a red cloud. Guys, what's the key thing we do anytime we hear about fundamental counting principle? Multiply. Write that down with your red pen. I want you to remember, anytime it says fundamental counting principle, we will be multiplying. So this first question says, how many different outfits can you make from 7 shirts, 5 dress pants, and 2 pairs of shoes? What should I do with those numbers, class? Multiply them together. When you do that, what do you get?
70 possible outcomes.
Okay, 70 possible outcomes, 70 different outfits. I do not care what words you put, but please make sure, because it is a modeling real life type problem, that you have units attached. Let's go to the next one. What are some answers that you guys got for problem B? What'd you ladies get? 12.5. Who got something else? 8. Who got something different? 21? All right, let's look at problem B. You choose between blue or pink paper and green, purple, black, or white markers. How many possible outcomes are there when you select? You want 1 piece of paper and 1 marker. Guys, how many pieces of paper were there? 2. How many markers were there?
4.
What should I do with those? So the answer is 8 what? 8 different outcomes. All right, looking at number 6. Find the probability of the compound event. Take your red pen, and I want you to write a cloud around whole percent. So beforehand, we were rounding to the nearest tenth. I don't want a tenths place anymore. I want a whole number, round to the nearest whole percent. Please do problems A and B with your partner. The first thing it asks us here, remember it's a compound event, so we're looking for 2 or more things. You roll a number on a number cube and you flip a coin. What's the probability of rolling a number greater than 3 and flipping heads? Guys, on this dice right here, how many numbers are greater than 3?
4. Oh. 3.
Only 3 of them. What numbers are greater than 3? 4, 5, and 6. Okay, so I have a 3 out of 6 chance that that's going to happen. Let's talk about flipping heads on a coin. What are the odds I'm going to flip heads? 1 out of 2. Multiply that together. You get 3/12. Reduced would be 1/4. What percentage is 1/4?
25%.
25%. Guys, what's the likelihood that's going to happen? Unlikely. As I said before, most compound events are unlikely. Kaylin, let's look at the next one. You roll a number cube and you spin the spinner. What is the probability of, we are trying to roll a number less than 4 on this, and, on this, and spin a number higher than 4 on the spinner? Kaylin, what are the odds I'm going to roll a number less than 4?
3 out of 6.
3 out of 6.
Times 1 out of 5.
Times 1 out of 5. Kaylin, what should I do with those two? Multiply them together, and what do you get?
3 over 30, which if you simplify it, it would be 10 and you get 10% faster, but if you just put in the calculator, you'll get 0.1, and then you gotta move the thing over, and then it's 10%.
Okay, so very good. If you know 1/10 is 10%, you could just slap it down. As she said, if you don't know that, your calculator is there. 1 divided by 10 is 0.10. Change it to a decimal, or change that decimal to a percent, and you would get 10%. How many of you would say you got A and B correct when you did that? All right, if you did not, who has a question for me? Maybe it doesn't make sense. All right, we're going to have a couple review questions, and you will find these kind of problems on your quiz next week also. Use the percent equation to solve. Guys, what's the percent equation? Everybody write that down. Now, we can separate this original problem into 3 different things by underlining and circling the is, the of, and the p's. Ariana, what should I do?
Underline 48 is, and then underline 75% of, no, just circle that, and underline of whatever.
Excellent. I want you guys to do this on your own. Guys, what do I need to do with that percent?
Make it
Change it to a decimal, 0.75. What's my of?
we don't know.
We don't know it, so we're going to put an x. And what's my is?
48.
48. What do I do to get x by itself?
You divide by.
Divide by 0.75 on both sides. And what's our answer?
64.
64 is correct. We have one final problem today. Find the selling price. For some reason on our last test in chapter 6, people forgot how to do this. If I may lead you, we're going to use that percent equation one more time. Okay? Talk with your partner about how to find the selling price. Okay, as I just walked around, these are some of the answers that I saw. I saw $300. I saw $3. I saw $27. I just want you to look at this. If originally something is $30 and it's discounted, should my answer be smaller or bigger than the original price? It needs to be smaller. So that automatically should tell you if you got this answer, there's no way that could be right. If it's discounted, it's not going to increase astronomically. Okay? Here's a couple different ways I saw people do it. They knew the percent had to be changed to a decimal, 0.10. They multiplied it by the original amount. When you do that, people then saw it was $3. But guys, does it make sense If something was $30 and it's only 10% off, to have drastically decreased to being sold for only $3? No. What do you think that $3 stands for?
The discount.
That's the discount. This is how much money you get to take off. So if it was $30 and they get $3 off, what's the answer? $27. Now, there's another way that I also taught you how to do this. I taught you to take the percentage you have to pay. If it was 100%, but we get 10% off, guys, what percentage do you have to pay? 90%. Here's the fast way. 0.90 or 0.9 times the original amount, and that will give you the answer in one little step, that it's $27. I do not care which way you do it on your quiz on Monday, but you need to get the correct final answer. As I said, your quiz is on Monday over 7-1 to 7-3.